Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. Sending you tons and tons of love. And today I wanted to talk about spiritual awakening and depression because it is very common to feel depressed after experiencing a spiritual awakening. And it might seem like these two things shouldn't go together, but it's quite common, and there's multiple reasons why you might feel depressed after you experience an awakening. And I feel like I need to preface this by saying that we experience multiple awakenings in our lives. We experience multiple revelations and the awakening and unfolding that ensues afterward. So our spiritual awakening is an ever unfolding process. And as we awaken, as we peel layers off, as we unfold, we may experience depression. And here's why. Because when we awaken, when we start to really look at how we've been living, when we start to question our beliefs and question our thought processes, we can get to a point where nothing really makes sense anymore. Where things that we used to enjoy don't make sense anymore. Conversations that we used to have don't make sense anymore. Ways that we used to show up in the world, things that we used to believe just don't make sense anymore. And we can experience what's called an ego death. And this is when, so our ego is responsible for our personality and our sense of individualism. It forms very early on in our development, and we keep adding to it as we grow. So when we experience an awakening and we start to question all of these ways that we've related to the world and all of these ways that we've perceived reality, we can experience an ego death. That structure of our personality shuts down. And our mind doesn't have any framework, any past experience to relate to our current experience. And so we experience an ego death and we enter the void. Now, the void is this weird, unknown place in between who we were and who we are becoming. And in that space, it can feel really floaty and very ungrounded and scary and alone. And this is why we can feel depressed. So in the void, after an awakening, it can feel like we're floating. It can feel like we're very ungrounded. It can feel like we're detached from our personality, from how we used to identify. We can feel detached from the people around us and unsure of how to relate to the people around us. We can feel like nobody in the world understands what's happening to us. Nobody in the world understands us as a person. We can feel like nobody in the world understands how we want to move forward and how we want to live. And it can just feel like nothing makes sense. And so depression can set in because we feel disconnected. We feel this sense of dissociation and disconnectedness from ourselves and from the world and the people around us. So if you're experiencing depressive symptoms right now, if you're feeling really just weird and disconnected, know that this is temporary and know that it's part of the process. We also experience depression because this is our soul's way of letting us know that we are living out of alignment. We are living out of alignment with how our soul and our higher self want us to be living and want us to be interacting with the world. So whenever we are depressed or anxious or suffering in any way, this is our soul's way of telling us that something needs to give, something needs to change, something needs to shift. And it could be something as simple as our perception. Maybe just our perception needs to shift. Maybe we don't need to overhaul our entire life. In fact, what needs to happen usually is inner work. And the depression can persist when we resist the inner work, when we resist actually sitting, slowing down, sitting in silence with ourselves, examining our thoughts, examining our past decisions, examining how we are living, and really taking stock and choosing to move forward in a different way. If we resist that work, if we resist the shadow work, the depression will persist. And I can't give you a definite timeline of how, okay, well, if I do X, Y, and Z, and if I do this amount of shadow work, then it'll be this long until I feel okay again. It doesn't work that way. It's all very subjective, and everybody's journey is different. So that's it. But any symptom like depression is inviting us to go inside, to really evaluate what does align with us, what actually feels like a true vibrational alignment that feels good in our body and feels good to our soul. This is the constant work of consciously choosing how we show up in the world, consciously choosing what we spend and invest our money in, our attention in, our focus in, our words in, all the time. And if you're not feeling good, it's usually a sign that you've been investing your time, money, energy, focus, emotions in something that is out of alignment with you. So I encourage you, if you're feeling depression, to either by yourself or with a counselor or a coach or a therapist or a spiritual mentor or whatever kind of support system, find someone or do it by yourself to really examine this. And this is, sometimes it helps to work with someone so they can mirror back to you some of your blind spots. This is why I always am working with a coach or a healer or somebody who can be my sacred mirror and show me what I'm not seeing. It's so important. Because there's so many clues in our language, the language that we use too. And we might be totally oblivious to a pattern, a subconscious pattern that doesn't serve us anymore, which could be contributing to these depressive feelings. And perhaps, we've been doing things a certain way for a lot of years and it's been working up until this point. And then you hit a wall or a breaking point, or something happens in your reality to jar you enough to make you realize that it's not working anymore. And I know that this could sound kind of vague, but this could be anything. That's why I am being vague, is because this could be anything from something as small as your diet to something as large as self-sabotaging behavior. It's going to be unique to you what your soul is tasking you with. But I just want to encourage any of you who are feeling depressive symptoms that this is a temporary situation if you are willing to go inside and listen to yourself. Listen to your soul's promptings. Listen to what you need. And it doesn't have to be a big, long process. You could figure something out that's quite big in 15 minutes. Sometimes it takes multiple sittings. Excuse me, it's going to depend on you, right? Can you hear the birds? But yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now. But I just wanted to let you know that depression is a pretty common symptom that happens after spiritual awakening, right? And it's because, I'll just recap, it's because when we go through an awakening process, it usually triggers an ego death. We feel dissociated from our lives and the way we used to show up and the people in the world around us. We enter the void where it is an unknown place, where we are in uncharted waters without a map, and it can feel really scary. And this is just our soul prompting us to consciously choose how we want to move forward. It's our soul prompting us to go inside and do the inner shadow work and really get deeply acquainted with every aspect of ourselves, even the ones that are not so desirable, okay? This is how we ascend. This is how we transcend our limiting beliefs. This is how we transcend our current experience of life. This is how we ascend in vibration and in consciousness and expand our awareness, is by going inside. I was going to add something, but those were unnecessary words. So know that this can be temporary. Know that you you can get through this, and you will get through this. And there is a divine, a spiritual reason for these depressed feelings. And if you need help working through them, let me know, okay? This is why I started this YouTube channel. And depression and loneliness kind of go hand in hand. I made a video about loneliness and spiritual awakening. I'll link to it here or here, okay, for you guys. You can check that out as well. But know that there is a reason for why this is happening. And this is your soul talking to you. So will you take the time to listen and cultivate that relationship inside of you? Because it's amazing the ways in which you can be blessed by doing this work. Okay? Sending you guys tons and tons of love. All the love. Good timing, because now the plow's coming out and it's going to get noisy. So I love you guys. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Share it with someone you love. And subscribe down below for more videos like this. I'll talk to you soon.